Do not fall for the FBA trap. And what do I mean by that? What I'm talking about is that there are big moves happening on the African continent right now. And we need to understand that global black unity is the most important thing on the planet.
What's so bad about having African descent? My nigga, you're not Cherokee. Like this whole FBA movement, I know I'm gonna get some hate, but bro, it's so stupid to me.
Like, really, what is the purpose of this FBA movement? What is, like, why is this beneficial? And again, don't tell me reparations either. Because what, you guys think that by separating yourselves from the rest of the diaspora in America, that you're gonna go back to the white man and say, hey, okay, it's us, we're the ones that deserve it, and you think he's gonna give it to you? You're crazy.
The only difference between foundational black Americans and African immigrants is we were here longer. That's the only difference. But we are from Africa, the same as they are from Africa.
Do not fall for the FBA trap. And what do I mean by that? What I'm talking about is that there are big moves happening on the African continent right now. And we need to understand that global black unity is the most important thing on the planet right now. There's immense amounts of hostility towards black Americans and towards African people as a whole because of the propaganda machine being put out by the white power structure. And one thing I'm seeing on the side of the FBA is that, because there's, some negative comments from Africans, they wanted to delineate from us. They thought they were better than us, that we should now delineate from them because we're getting a little bit of a leg up in society now. And the thing I have to say about that is every single African group has been disrespected by another African group. And the reason for that is because of white supremacy and propaganda. What they want to do is divide and conquer. We have Captain Ibrahim Traore making big moves in Burkina Faso. We have Assimi Goïta making big moves in Mali right now. Global black unity is going to be very important because what Africa is doing to the European Union and what they're doing to the United States of America is going to directly affect African Americans inside the United States. If they're taking back minerals, if they're preserving their culture, if they're preserving black unity and they're kicking white people out, then the hostility is only going to get bigger for us in America. And do you think it's better to side with the white Americans because we have some sort of, stake in American culture, an idea that doesn't even really exist? We are from Africa at the end of the day. And I know there was a lot of people who disagreed with my last video, but at the end of the day, Africans need to unite globally because the future is African. The future isn't white. The future isn't African American. The future is African at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, I also do believe this. They say, well, Africans don't claim us, right? Africans are African. They don't need to claim us. We need to claim Africans, which is something that we have been taught not to do for the past 500 years since we got off those slave ships. You get off a slave ship 50 years later, new Africans get off the slave ship. Oh, we're better than them. They're savages. They're this, they're that. All this nonsense, man. And in my personal opinion, we as a collective need to understand what was done to our psyche as a people. And taking that out on African people is going to do absolutely nothing for you. When the African population rises up and when African dominance starts to dominate the world in the future, when we start using our own natural resources and putting them in our banks and making money for ourselves without influence from the Europeans, then what are we going to be doing? We still going to be stomping on Africans? We still going to be saying that Africans are not important? We should delineate from them? The white man is falling. You don't want to be on the wrong side of history. That's just my little PSA to my people in America. Come on, man. It's time to wake up. Black unity is the only thing that's going to win. Anything else is just tribal bullshit. Nobody needs to be dealing with that, man. Come on, wake up.
What's so bad about having African descent? My nigga, you're not Cherokee. Like this whole FBA movement, I know I'm gonna get some hate, but bro, it's so stupid to me. We sitting here arguing about who African and who not. My nigga, they look at us the same way. This is exactly what they want to continue to divide us, bro. The more we argue with each other, we not arguing at the real goddamn, target.
We need to talk about the rise in Black American nationalism and the Black American nationalist to white supremacist pipeline. Yes, white supremacist. So, firstly, we've seen the Jay Versace tweet that's been resurfacing, and in response, I've seen like quite a few Black Americans make videos about that and say that you can always tell an African apart from an African American. Y'all are not like us, etc., etc. And before I even get too deep into that, I really want to ask you guys, what is the purpose of making that distinction? Why are you guys fighting so hard to make this distinction in 2025? Don't tell me that is reparations, because that's a really stupid answer. And just to speak to that point, Africans are very diverse looking people. Yes, there are people you can look at them and tell they're African, just like you can look at some people and tell, oh, okay, that's a Black American person. But if you go and get Africans who were born and raised in America or who moved to America at a very young age, you probably would not be able to tell. Most of you cannot, because people can't tell with me. It's literally not until you say something or until somebody sees your last name that they're like, oh. And that honestly kind of brings me to my second point of this whole thing of Africans are cosplaying Black Americans. I don't really think you guys understand how silly you sound when you say this at times, but I think it really does speak to sometimes how Black Americans, when it comes to this particular subject, some of y'all can be a little bit narrow-minded in your thinking, because what do you mean we're cosplaying? If you're born and raised in a country, you're going to have the mannerisms of people in that country. Especially if you're raised in a country like America, where things are typically just straight segregated by race. Like, let's be real. So it's like, you're going to have and adopt the mannerisms of the people, you know, in your community, which for a lot of people who are African but born in America, that's going to be Black American people. Like, hello. And thirdly, which I think is honestly probably the most egregious, is I saw a Black American woman on here who was trying to say that what? She said that Africans, Latinos, and immigrants are the new colonizers. That's quite literally the term that she used. She says that Black American people and she included white Americans. She said Black American people and white American people who've been here for hundreds of years, whose families have been here, who came over from Germany and Ireland, who built this country. They built this country, and now people are trying to come over here and force their customs on them, etc., etc. And I saw her in the comments literally liking comments saying white and Black Americans need to stick together. Like, do you see where it's not okay? Like, first of all, do you know what a colonizer really is? Like, let's not use that term lightly. Like, if you are claiming that your family has been here for all these hundreds of years and all this other stuff, girl, you should know the real history of colonization in this country, and you should know the real atrocity that it was, and not try to compare people who are literally coming over here peacefully to try to seek a better life for themselves, the new colonizers. That's very audacious and nasty. Immigration is not perfect. There's illegal immigrants who do terrible things, but that is not the overwhelming majority of people. So for you to be using that kind of rhetoric, especially as a Black woman in America, I have to say pause. Like, come on. So again, I really just say all that to say, like, really, what is the purpose of this FBA movement? Why is this beneficial? And again, don't tell me reparations either, because what, you guys think that by separating yourselves from the rest of the diaspora in America, that you're going to go back to the white man and say, hey, okay, it's us. We're the ones that deserve and you think that he's going to give it to you? You're crazy. This goes for all Black people in the diaspora, period. If you're not ready to take your reparations by force, it's not happening, period. So again, just why are y'all doing this? What's the purpose? What's the agenda?
And the FBAs are so delusional that as soon as you don't agree with them and you're dark skinned as an African American, you're a tether. Now I'm cosplaying. Now I'm forcing my Chicago accent. Can you tell that to my ancestors that was enslaved in Mississippi? Or can you tell that to my great granddaddy who fled Tennessee with all of his siblings to Chicago because he unalived the white T-man that was trying to dangle them from trees? Or what about my grandparents that were Black Panthers? I'm not a tether, and I wasn't born on the continent of Africa. I just don't agree with your xenophobic bullshit, because the same people calling African people tethers and calling them African booty scratchers called me the same shit in 3rd grade because of my skin tone and my facial features. I'm sorry my great-great-grandmother did not get SA'd by the slave masters, I guess. I'm sorry that when you look at me, you're reminded of your West African roots. But I can't help that. I'm still African American, and I still disagree.
How y'all doing? My name is Raekwon Diamond Kamal, and I've been hearing a lot online about foundational Black Americans versus African immigrants that come here to America and settle and become African Americans. Now, myself personally, I don't have a problem with it, because this is the truth. The only difference between foundational Black Americans and African immigrants is we were here longer. That's the only difference. But we are from Africa, the same as they are from Africa. You see, some blacks have this ideal that because our cultures are different, we cannot be put in the same category. Sorry, that's hogwash. That's bull. Okay? You see, black does not describe our culture, it describes our race. If you are a melanated person across the world, you're considered black. And they don't care what country you're from. I'm sorry, this is just the truth. They don't care where you're from. You're black. Okay? Regardless if you're from Africa or anywhere else where your skin just happen to be melanated, they see you, they go black. Okay? So black does not describe our culture. American describes our culture. African describes our ancestry or where our bloodline is from. Okay? And unfortunately, it appears that out of all the different groups on this planet, we're the only ones that have a problem with it. Okay? Asian American culture is not the same as Chinese, Korean, or Japanese culture. It's not the same. But do you hear Asian Americans claim or deny or run from the fact that they're Asian? No, they don't. They're Asian American, and they're cool with it. You definitely don't see white people whose culture is definitely different from European culture. White American culture is not the same as European culture. Very different. But you don't hear white Americans being ashamed of their European culture. We just have a problem with it. I don't. As a matter of fact, my family got rid of their slave names and took back African last names. That's why my last name is now Kamau. And I'm so proud of my African last name. It's from Kenya. I love it. So, look, just know this. The only difference between African immigrants and us is that we were here longer. Only difference, but we're all still from Africa, making us all African American. And I'm cool with that. In the meanwhile, I know some of you might have some problem with it. I really don't care. But please, take care of yourselves and start loving one another. Talk to y'all later.